The Seattle Sounders' brand new 2025 kit is here. Inspired by two traditional Southern Coast Salish weaving techniques, twilling and twinning. These techniques, passed down through generations, honor the resilience, deep-rooted ties, and creativity that define the cultural fabric of this region. The striking deep blue jersey will be worn by the Sounders for the next 2 seasons to honor the club's deep connection with the Puget Sound and shared responsibility as stewards of the greater Salish Sea watershed. Backing up that commitment, the Seattle Sounders will donate up to $50,000 to benefit community charities around the Puget Sound region. To get your very own Salish Sea kit, visit lobbingscorchers.com/kit. That's lobbingscorchers.com/KIT. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, and NBs, we are here with another Seattle Sounders post-match dub call-in show. Ari, are you surprised? It's canon at this point. We can't stop.
Another game, another dub. What else is new?
Seattle and another Sounders, Moose goal.
Another Moose goal. Another Ryan Kent assist. 2 Albert Rusnak goals.
They don't count, though, and we'll get into why.
They don't count, but he did score 2 of them. The Seattle Sounders, 3-1 at Houston Dynamo. Great start to the road trip. And Noah, we're about to do this post-game live, take some calls, stream the pressers here shortly. We've got a $2 super chat to start it off from Ryan Shane, starting the train to get the Moose apology. Moose is red hot.
I made a goal, Ari.
The team is red hot, 4-0-1 over those 5 games where Moose has entered the history books as the 4th Seattle Sounders striker to score in 5 straight games.
I believe it's 3rd. But
so let's jump into that in a second. Get to these pressers right now, and then we'll
Thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on the victory this evening. We're going to get straight to questions.
We get Moose audio.
First hand I see is from Jeremiah Oshan. Jeremiah, go ahead and bring yourself off mute as you like.
Yeah, Danny, obviously, congratulations on this win. That's 5 straight with a goal. I mean, have you ever been in a run of form like this? I mean, what would you... What do you liken this to?
Yeah, I think maybe when I was playing college, I maybe had a run like this, but since I've been professional, I haven't had a streak like this. So yeah, of course, I'm really happy, and I'm also really happy that we're getting the wins as well. So everything's good, and just keep the momentum going.
On that one, you sort of made this inside-out run. Is that, I don't know? Do you feel like you are? It just seems like you're making better runs even than it's not just finishing. It's all the stuff that's putting you in position to be finishing.
Yeah, I think as a striker, you have to put in that extra effort and kind of anticipate that the ball's going to come, even if it's a very low likelihood that it's going to come. You just need to believe that it's going to get there. And yeah, Paul just did a good job to cross it in, put it in a dangerous spot. I think it deflected off their center back, and I was just hoping the ball would kind of land towards where I was going, and it did. But yeah, it's definitely the little things that add up and score the goals.
All right, next question will go over to Jada Evans. Jada, go ahead and ask your question, please.
That's fair.
Thank you. Congratulations on the win, y'all. Albert, from your perspective too, I wanted to get a look at your perspective of Danny being able to finish. It seems like you guys have always been able to get the balls there, but you just needed that kind of consistent finisher. Can you talk about a little bit about that, about the change, being able to get those goals this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice when the first chance that we create in the last few games kind of goes in. It settles the teams down, and everybody's feeling better. And it's sometimes you have 10 chances in a game, but we've been speaking a lot about, especially on the road, when we get that first chance, it's important to put it away. And then he did that once again today. And it kind of dropped a little bit of I don't want to say pressure, but yeah, it just settled us down. And then we gave up a goal from a set piece, which is something that we want to avoid in the future games. But then again, we were able to take the lead back. So I think scoring the first goal for us is important in any game, but especially on the road. And we know we have 2 more road games coming up. So like Danny said, it's a momentum that we have built over the past month or so. And our job is to keep that going and make the most of it.
And then Danny, you have been pretty calm since through this run, and I kind of gather that it's your personality, or is this trying to keep everything level because of the way that soccer can change in a second?
Yeah, I just think it's focusing on what you can control. I think every day in training, I just try to put myself in dangerous spots, and then when I'm training well, I feel like it makes the games a whole lot easier. So I don't know, it is definitely an element of going into the game calm, going into the game, believing that you're going to score. But yeah, I mean, soccer is a crazy game, and things change. But I mean, right now I'm in a good, current run of form, so I just want to keep it going.
All right. Reminder to media, if you have a question, please go ahead and hit that raised hand function button. For next one, we're going to go over to Felipe Makeda. Felipe, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Alex. My question is for Danny. Danny, I don't know if you pay attention to numbers, but the longest streak on goals is 6, and it's for Raul Ruiz. Does that make you? Does that motivate you to keep on going, scoring, or this is just a number and you don't pay attention to it?
I mean, I think I just take it one game at a time. I wasn't really focused on the record until kind of recently, once it's tacked on consecutive games. But I mean, yeah, it would be nice to score against LAFC and keep the momentum going.
Ooh, breaking the record.
All right,
or
I'm
like
seeing a
tying
couple
the
hand
record against
raised for
LAFC.
follow-ups, which is fine. Jeremiah, go ahead and ask yours, please.
Yeah, Albert, the competition within the team for starting spots seems like it's been pretty intense lately. I'm just curious, how does that help raise the level, and to be able to bring a guy like Pedro off the bench, or Jesus, what does that do for this team's confidence?
Well, I mean, it's obviously a good thing from the team's perspective that you have a lot of quality on the bench. I think if you look even outside of MLS, if you look at the top teams, they all have that in common, right? And this game is not just about the 11 guys that start the game, but there's many times guys off the bench can change the game and influence it in a positive way. Another thing is injuries. We're dealing with a lot of stuff, and different injuries come at different times, and then someone takes a couple weeks to come back, someone takes a little bit longer, and then in the meantime another guy has to step up. So whether you want to call it competition or just being ready when your time comes, because of other circumstances, it is what it is. And I think we have a good group of human beings to understand that injuries can happen, and you're not going to play every game. But right now it seems like whoever's starting the game is doing the job, and whoever's coming off the bench is doing the job. And I think that's the recipe for success and to win things. So yeah, I think right now it's there's a good balance between both starting and coming off the bench.
All right, Jada, we'll go back to you for follow-up.
Great, thank you, Albert. Can you talk a little bit about that the second half, and Pedro coming in and being able to set you up for that goal almost immediately? Yeah, can you give a little commentary, I guess, on that one?
Yeah, I mean, well, he came in a game and immediately set up the second goal. So it's just going back to what I was saying, in terms of having an impact off the bench. And we knew that they were down to 10 men. So we wanted to score the second goal kind of earlier than later. We've played here before where we were 2 men up and couldn't score for 40 plus minutes. So they're a well-organized team, and it wasn't easy. But I feel like once we scored the second goal, it killed them in a way, and it put us on the front foot again. And from then on, we created more chances to score. And yeah, but your question about Pedro's impact, yeah, it was immediate with the assist.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other hands for now. So, guys, thank you both very much for your time. Congratulations again and safe travels.
Thank you.
All right, that
Media will
was
reset the
2 Seattle Sounders legends, or becoming 2 Seattle Sounders legends, Danny Musovski and Albert Rusnak. I almost forgot Rusnak's name there for a minute. That's how bad of a host I am right now, Ari.
Wow.
But I took away a couple of things from that presser. But before we get there, I had to let you know, Ari, I put a goal up. I said, listen, if we get 5 super chats, I will get on my knees and I will beg for forgiveness from Danny Musovski. Okay.
Looks like we're at 4.
We are at 4, Ari. So one more. And the more that we get, the more intense it will be. We'll do this towards the back end of the show.
You know, I feel like you've paid your due with the official apology, but I mean,
But
for the
you know
super
what?
chats, I think that's good.
Here we go, Ari. If we can get 7 super chats, I will buy a Danny Musovski jersey live on this stream. 7 super chats, I will buy a Danny Musovski jersey live on this stream. Look, we already hit our 5 right there. So now it's just going to be, if we can get a couple more, I will buy a Danny Musovski jersey on stream. All right.
Why don't you go through our the ones that we have, and then we can riff a couple takes before Schmetz goes.
Absolutely. So, starting the train to get the Musovski apology, we already started there. Noah should have to buy Moose a wedding gift. I agree. I think I should probably be invited. No, probably not. Actually, he doesn't want me there. What's a thing you buy people for a wedding gift? Like a toaster?
I just go to the registry.
Yeah, that's fair.
My
Moose,
entire friend
send
group's
your
gotten married
registry.
in okay, we got Schmetz going right now, so let's just hit that.
And would you like to begin with an open or straight to it tonight?
I'm going to start with an opener, Alex.
All right.
We complimented a player who a lot of people wrote off, maybe even including myself, if I have to be honest with everybody.
Oh, shit.
A guy who now has etched his name in the record
All
book,
right.
ahead of Clint Dempsey, arguably the best American striker, goal scorer that this country has ever produced. Raul Ruiz Diaz, a absolute beast in his day. Obafemi Martins, a guy that played in the highest levels and unbelievable player for this club. Jordan Morris, leading scorer of this club. Danny Musovski scoring 5 goals in 5 consecutive games. I have to tip my hat.
Oh, wait, it is 5.
And, you know, that kid has done a great job for this club. And it's selfless running. It's working. It's a great example. Everybody got excited about Paul Rothrock and what a good example. Well, there's example number 2 of what happens when you work hard and you're prepared. And when you get your opportunity, you're prepared for your opportunity. So kudos to Danny Musovski starting us off on a good note tonight.
Coach, thanks for that. He ties Obafemi Martins and Freddie Montero for that record inside of a single season in consecutive matches. So with that, we'll start with questions. Jeremiah, I saw you first. Why don't you get us lead off, please?
Well, Brian, I feel like we need to follow up on that. You know, you mentioned that you maybe wrote Danny off at one point. I know a lot of fans certainly wrote him off at one point. What do you think has changed? I mean, aside from the goals just hitting the back of the net, I have to imagine something has changed beyond that as well.
His movement inside the box where he scored all of his goals have come from, you know, making sure he gets inside the 6-yard box, either at the near post or like this cross today, you know, middle of the goal. So when a center forward puts himself inside the 6, good things can happen. So I think that was something that we as coaches were telling Jordan, we were telling Moose, we were telling Jesus earlier in the year, and Moose actually went out and has done it. And now, you know, he's been rewarded.
All right, next question. We'll go to Jada Evans.
Thank you. Congratulations, Brian. Can you also talk, though, about him, Danny, and his, I guess his consistency or his patience maybe in training, because his minutes, he only got like 500 or so last year, and he's almost hit that so far in these games. But he's all in MLS matches. But to be able to kind of stick with it, like were you looking at him trying to maybe find minutes from him because of his performance in training, or what's that patience, I guess, been like from your view of him?
Yeah, last year he had some pretty significant injuries that kept him off the field. Jada, I think this year he's been healthy. Was I looking to reward players that had good training weeks? Yes, I think that's part of the new mantra that we're trying to, because we have such a deep team, that guys that are performing well are going to get, opportunities. But again, it's just down to when the player gets an opportunity, has he prepared himself to make sure that he makes the most out of that opportunity? And I think that's what Danny has done.
And then with your decision with Pedro and to pull him, but you did not start him and have Kent in there. Was that just regular tactics, or was there anything more for that?
That was my decision. We wanted an attacking guy on one side. Paul's done a great job here in Houston. He's had some very, very good games here in Houston. They had a new player that we weren't familiar with out on the left-hand side, and I thought a little bit of a defensive presence might not be a bad thing. But then, when we went a man up, it was the right timing, and Pedro came on and, started the half on a good note with the assist, and things started to roll for him. So again, it's just part of having a deep squad.
Reminder for media, if you have a question for head coach Brian Schmetzer, please go ahead and hit that raise hand function button. Jeremiah, I see you have a follow-up there. Go ahead and ask it, please.
Yeah, this is a second straight game using the 4-2-3-1. I know we don't like to make too much out of the formation, but it does seem to be working. Is there something that you think is fitting right now particularly well that seems to work with that formation? And is that a sign that this might be here to stay?
Well, it's personnel based. I think it fits this particular skill set of players with the addition of Ryan. We have a lot of, wide attacking type players and trying to get them all on the same field in a, different look. What I would say, Jeremiah, is, again, really to remind everybody, the way we attack doesn't change. We still occupy the same spaces. It's still 3-2 build. We still try and push Obed up, whether we play with true wingers or Alex and Pedro on one side and, Paul and Ryan on the other. The attacking doesn't change. So a lot of that is just minutia. And then defensively, it changes a little bit. That's where you need to dig in and, you can do some research. Defensively, it looks a little different. Defending out of a 4-2-3-1. So we'll continue to work on that. But, I thought we were okay today when it was still 11v11, but we'll have to keep fine tuning the defensive side of 4-2-3-1.
All right, Felipe, I see you've got your hand raised. Over to you.
Thank you, Alex. Coach Brian is not just congratulations on today's win, but it's not just Musovski has scored in 5 games. Some of those games were 3 points that he helped to achieve, but also seems like 7 goals in 2 games for the Seattle Sounders. Looks like the offensive of Seattle Sounders has a World Cup for these games and the games ahead.
Well, that's a great statement. I'll follow up with my statement. Yes, there was a lot of times last year, goal scoring was part of our challenges that we faced. I don't think we scored enough goals last year. So in preseason already, the addition of Paul Arriola and also Jesus Ferreira and now Ryan Kent, we tried to address those issues. And you're seeing, again, Felipe, without going too far ahead, some of the work that we did in preseason is now starting to show up. And I think we're a better offensive team.
All right, we will go over to Jada Evans for her follow-up.
Thanks. I just wanted to ask about Jesus. He was able to enter, so his injury is fine, or how is he looking for you?
Injury wise, fine. Jesus came on, did well. I pulled Yeimar because he was on a yellow. Everybody came out of the game.
Chat, do I ask a question?
Okay, last hand I'm seeing is Jeremiah, so go for it, Jeremiah.
Yeah, not to end on a down note, but there was a lot of attacking set pieces that you gave up today, and most of the danger they created was from attacking set pieces. Is that getting to be a concern at this point? Is that, I don't know, what do you chalk that up to?
You got a kid on the opposite team that has a left foot that's really, really good, and you're going to be put under pressure. McGlynn is terrific with those set pieces. So, did we make a couple silly fouls? Yes. Anytime you play against a team that has a really good set piece,
This meeting is being
you're
recorded.
running the risk of, being put under pressure. But I didn't attest to anything. I didn't put it down as anything, life-threatening or anything like that, Jeremiah.
I spoke too soon. We do have a first-time question from Noah Rift. Noah, go ahead and ask your question, please. You can close us out. Noah, can you hear us?
Great story. Good kid. Thanked me for putting him in the game afterwards. He was super excited. So super talented kid. He's going to come and give everything. Not much else to say. I think he's had a big week. I might have to chop him down a little bit, Noah. He's had a good week, so I'll keep him grounded and make sure he keeps doing the work because he's a really nice kid. Thanks.
Coach, thanks for your time. Congratulations. Safe travels home.
We couldn't hear you. Oh, you're still muted. Can't hear you. Well, we could not hear Noah's question, but clearly Brian Schmetzer could hear it. So I think it was a good question. Sounds like it was about Osaze de Rosario. We still can't hear Noah.
Yeah, well, you can hear me now.
Now we can hear you. Yeah.
Listen.
We couldn't hear the question, but it sounded good. You got a good answer. So
apologies, folks. Apparently you can't use a mic on two websites at the same time.
Yeah,
What is this woke nonsense, Ari?
I
You're
think
the tech guy over here.
I think I don't know. I got nothing on that one.
I literally embarrassed myself in front of Schmetz. And first time question, Alex. I'm sorry. That was a second time question. Anyway,
first time for the call, but
oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. See, I'm new to this, guys.
It's fine. At least you got the question in. That's
yeah. Well, I wanted to hit the De Rosario question because his dad was in attendance tonight, and they were honoring his dad with the 50 years of Dynamo or whatever
celebrations for their best clubs.
So I don't know. That's cool. It's cool to hear that Brian's going to chop him down a little bit. We love to hear that. That's a classic Schmetzerism of we got to bring him back down to earth, so loved to hear that. But Ari, we got a lot to talk about. We have 130 people in here. We have about 130 donations. I created a new goal that I'll cut my hair, I'll get a haircut, and get a Danny Musovski jersey if we get 10 more donations, and we are basically already there. So why don't we actually hit the rest of these donos, and then we can actually get into our match recap and take calls. I am going to spam out the link. So if you do want to call in, we would love to have you. We would love to hear how this game made you feel. And you can do that right there in chat. Okay. Hunch Punch, thank you for becoming a member. Really appreciate you. NWA, thank you so much for the $1.99. Zippy Tuna, send this to Rivas. I didn't understand the red. Oh, we're going to get into the red card. What else do we got? Adam, how many do we have to give for you to trim that caterpillar? It is getting really long, Ari. this is a little too. It's getting bowl cutty. You know what I mean? So
I think it looks nice, but I
Okay,
mean,
thank
if
you.
it gets a super
Thank
chat
you.
for you to cut it,
Thank you. Funding the Moose jersey. Schmetz eating crow will never get old. Moose. Noah should cut his hair like Moose. That's not going to happen. That would not look good on me.
Oh, I thought that's what we were doing.
Oh no, I don't think that's that tight cut is for me. My head shape doesn't work for that. Zippy Tuna, thank you for renewing your membership. Appreciate that. Gel and all. I could gel it or something. Do a little mohawk moment. Excited to enter Moose mode. LFG, love the show. Community building. We're building that community and a bunch of moose emojis. I want to jump back into this one. Schmetzer eating crow will never get old. Moose. That was honestly a great moment. That's one of my favorite presser moments I've seen in a long time, Ari, because he's just like me for real. Sometimes you have to admit. Sometimes when you got good ball knowledge, you got to admit you were wrong. How do you think that presser went?
I mean, everyone seems happy. The vibes are good. The team's on fire. So it's a lot easier to have a happy, easygoing presser when you're racking wins, scoring goals every week. And the Moose story just continues to be a lot of fun. Schmetz mentioning that even he might have wrote him off at one point. That was a fun little moment. And really just a lot of things to like about this game, I think, that I wanted to go over. But we can just kind of gradually hit on these, I think, as we take some calls. We've got our first person in the queue, so why don't we just bring them in?
Sammy, you ready? Give us a thumbs up. All right. Welcome to the stage. Sammy, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Another Sounders win. What you got for us?
Well, first I'll say my voice sounds like this because I'm old and I somehow damaged my esophagus. Don't know how that happened. But I wonder, what are your thoughts on Ryan Kent throughout the game today? My personal opinion is the first half he didn't look good, but once Pedro Del Vega came on, he looked amazing.
Yeah, I thought he had a couple of moments like right at the start of the game where I was like, all right, this is still going. And then the rest of the first half really didn't get going at top capacity. But I think you're right. When De La Vega came on, the whole team really kicked into gear. Being up a man probably helped with that. But the solo run that Ryan Kent made to set up that assist that he got, that's just another example of like the type of stuff that he can do. Runs like that, his ability to do that's not going to go away when it's 11v11. So that was sick. And that really, I think that tied together the game for him. That was a really nice assist.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Like that first half, I don't think was his best work. But I mean, I could understand, having a little bit of jitters. It's his first start in like, I don't know, a year, 2 years, something like that.
First away match as well.
Yeah, first away match, just a lot. And Houston's a tough place to play anyway. It's just tough place to exist too sometimes. Very sweaty. But I think, yeah, once he settled in that second half, it was great. I thought he played great. I thought he was doing those same things. He looked way more calm on the ball. Like his just movement kind of felt more like that Ryan Kent that we've come to know and love. But yeah, I mean, see, when I think it's so hard too when you set the bar so high for yourself right off the bat, any kind of like average or middling game, which every player is going to have, is just going to look like, oh, well, he's not the demigod we thought he was, but I think he might still be.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Like we were hyping him up so hard after the last couple of weeks, but I still think he did well, whether it's after, they went down to 10 men or not, or is it, Paul Rothrock on the right-hand side? Is that really the move? I'm not sure, but the second half definitely looked better, but also they were down a man.
Yeah, no, I'm interested in this one for everyone here. Pedro de la Vega versus Paul Rothrock, especially if you're going to have Rothrock play on the other side to manage to get Kent into the lineup. Who do you want to see starting?
I'm a big Pedro de la Vega fan, so I definitely want to see him on the right with Ryan Kent on the left.
I like that. Ari?
Well, so for the starting 11 tonight, I was actually really happy with how they lined it up. because I was kind of debating Rothrock or Kent, and then we ended up getting Rothrock and Kent, and I was like, that front four is nice.
Yeah,
that is nice.
Yeah.
And I really wanted him to start Rothrock in this game because Rothrock is a Houston Dynamo merchant. You know he's going to get a goal contribution against the Houston Dynamo,
which allegedly he didn't. The oligarchs at MLS took that away, which is we don't believe in that. We don't.
I think he's going to get that awarded, but either way, he puts.
You need to make a call, Ari. And you know the people. You got to make the call.
He puts in the ball that leads to that goal either way. So he definitely kept up his reputation as a Houston Dynamo destroyer. And then De La Vega comes on in the second half and immediately gets the assist. And one thing I really liked about this performance was when you're up a man, it's not going to be handed to you anyway. It's your duty to go capitalize on it. And I thought that they had an opportunity right in the aftermath at the end of the first half to get that second goal, and they didn't quite do it. So I loved seeing them come out there and first sequence of play. Houston didn't even touch the ball one time before they got that goal. That is a clinic in how to play up a man on the road.
And I don't even mind a Pedro de la Vega off the bench. I thought he looked great off the bench. He could go just crazy. He was sprinting till literally the very last minute, trying to win balls in the front and press the defenders. And I loved that. And Paul Rothrock, Houston Dynamo merchant, everyone merchant. He can score. He can score assist against anyone, but Houston especially. So it's a like I've said, it's a team of wingers, but that's not a terrible thing to have when you can basically change up your whole strategy and have someone like Georgi come in off the bench and just, that Houston team down a man having to deal with Georgi, that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare.
Sammy, we got a couple people in the queue, but any last takes or thoughts or anything you wanted to get out there about Seattle Sounders 3-1 at Houston Dynamo?
So last thing I'll say is my opinion. I love the super sub of Paul Rothrock and Georgi coming off the bench. Start Ryan Kent and Pedro de la Vega, and then have those super subs of Paulie and Georgi would be great.
Love it. Thanks so much for calling in, Sammy. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks, Sammy.
Go Durs. See you later, man.
Bye.
All right. We got a queue going. We got super chats going. Let's hit a couple of these super chats, and then we'll jump in to our next caller, Jordan. So, Jordan, are you ready? Just give us a thumbs up. Okay, we'll pull you on right after these super chats here. Wait, I missed one. I can't miss Ari. I can't miss any. You guys should swap haircuts. Are you talking about me and Ari?
I think
or
me
and
maybe
Moose?
you and I, or maybe you and Moose.
I feel like Moose could rock the mop. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna Photoshop that later tonight, and then we can see. Yeah, we'll face swap it, or maybe someone's better at that than me and they can do it. Zippy Tuna, thank you for the $5. We appreciate you. If at home as favorites, start Pedro. On the road, needing legs and shithousery, Paul, they give different things. What do you think about that, Ari?
I think that's one way to do it. I think it could also be matchup dependent based on the team as much as the venue. Like games where you need the skill set, mix and match. That's what's great about the depth that we're seeing with this team right now is they can do stuff like that and have there be no drop off. Bringing in Ferreira and De La Vega off the bench in this game. So good. All right, Jordan, we're bringing you on stage. Thanks so much for calling in. How we doing? Let's hit this question first. I'm sorry. I'm going to cut you off. Actually, no, introduce yourself. Say what's up. What you got? Tell us how you're feeling.
Oh, great. How can you not, especially after Albert Rusnak brace. Always good to see. Ryan Kent. The second he was linked to Seattle, I went on Twitter and I was like, this is an amazing deal. Yeah. Anyone who said otherwise obviously had no clue who he was, just saw a free agent who hasn't played. But you're talking about a guy who challenged with Rangers, went on and played European football in UEFA. It's the easiest decision because he's also young. He's not a 30-year-old washed-up player coming for a paycheck. He's a guy who's
in his prime.
He's a dog. He wanted to fight, came to Seattle. It was the best free agent signing maybe ever.
He's a lot better than I thought he was going to be. He's
I
really
knew
good.
him as a FIFA merchant for sure. Just using him on FIFA with like 99 pace as a striker, just run straight up the field with Ryan Kent. So I knew he was fast, but he makes every defender look like they're just running in tar.
I think it's also interesting too because of his mindset coming into this plays such a big role into it, right? Like the Sounders are a tough team to assimilate into if you're not interested in just kind of writing it out. You know what I mean? Like if you're not interested in going to training and working your ass off, Brian Schmetzer's not the type of coach to be like, oh my God, Ryan Kent, you played for Rangers? You're in my starting lineup. He's like, no, I'm going to get this random dude who got rejected from Toronto FC. He's going to start ahead of you. Like you're going to have to beat him. Yeah. And, I mean, I think that's part of the reason too, why he's like, I'm finding my love for soccer again. Like this is, it's just fun for him and it looks fun for him out there. And to add on to that, I think people are noticing him because Kent got double teamed a lot in the first half. He got more than double teamed. I saw at one point there was like 4 guys around him when he was on the ball.
I'm an Arsenal fan, and Ryan Kent this game was like Bukayo Saka any game Arsenal play. It is literally, there's somebody there. Like it doesn't matter. The other attackers don't matter. The only difference is compared to Arsenal, Ryan Kent has much better attacking pieces around him for the league he's in, which leads to, the fact that on the assist, he just kicks it around Vargas, uses him as a human shield, and just sprints to an open ball that everyone just left for him, is able just to tap it across. Like, most people would have just given up on that ball. I'm like, I kicked it too far. Dude pulled out another gear, sprints into open space, and just is able to cut it across perfectly.
That's incredible. If people who are trying to call in, you might be blocked because we got too many people in the queue. So just wait a minute and then you could get in after. We're cheap over here. We can't afford it's like another $200 just to have 5 more slots to call in. So, more super chats for that or whatever. But I wanted to get your take on this red card. Okay. We haven't talked about the red card yet.
So I had to explain this to my mom because when they went to VAR, I immediately went, okay, so the only thing they're looking about is it in the box? That was all it was. And now, did he mean to handball it? Probably not. Obviously, the ball takes the bounce, it hits their bodies, but it does hit the hand. And if it doesn't, Danny Musovski is through. He's lined up perfect with the guy. One touch, he's in on net. It was always going to be a red card. It was just, is it a red card and a penalty, or is it a red card and a free kick? So the player reaction where he's pissed off and kicking the board, the coach's reaction, no, they were never looking, maybe we'll pull it back. It's a dog show. You're always getting a red card. That's just how it is.
I have to defend friend of the show, Femi Awodesu, as he is a friend of the show. He's been on the show. We have to defend him. That's our.
That was funny how much of a character he ended up being in this game because you did a whole interview with him. He scored a goal and then immediately got sent off. He really left his legacy.
It was an incredible 10-minute run. Probably one of the most historic,
the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, right off.
Yeah, literally. But you got on. I feel bad for the kid.
It's like I said,
it is.
He didn't mean to do it.
Yeah,
but whether he meant to do it or not, Danny Musovski's in if that ball isn't in his hand. So it is. I 100% believe it's accidental. You don't see him reach for the ball. You don't see him extend to try to stop him. It just that's the play of the ball.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a red card for him. Fortunately for us, it's a red card because then, Pedro comes on and Ryan Kent and Pedro just run circles around everybody. 2 easy assists. Rusnak, easiest day of his life. Just direct the ball into the net.
Well, Jordan, close us out and with your final thoughts here so we can get to some more callers. Anything else you want to share?
Final thoughts. I can't wait to see Jordan come back into this team. Jordan Morris, obviously, to have him, PDV, and Kent as a front 3. I don't care if it's Ferreira or Rusnak. Those 3, especially on counters, it's going to be lights out. Those three are going to just kill a team for sure.
Woo! Thank you so much for calling in, Jordan. We will see you soon.
Have a good night, guys.
Peace out. All right, Jake, you are next up in the queue. Give us a thumbs up if you're ready to go. Oh, I see you. Okay, beautiful. We're adding you to the stage now. Jake, welcome to the show. How you doing? Give us your opening thoughts and statements.
I just want to say, Ari, Noah, love you guys. Thank you for inviting me to the show. It's always a pleasure.
Love you too.
I think the last time I saw you, Noah, you weren't here. Ari, you were here. It was the Cruises old crash out. So it's been a while, and I apologize.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, you're good.
So I wanted to take this in a little bit of a different direction. Eternal Blue, Forever Green. I have friends who are huge DC United fans and live and die by Benny O. Okay,
yeah, Benny O.
He was a player there. Benny O, like, they met him. I have pictures of my friends meeting Benny O at the airport in DC. Obviously, he's going to Houston. He's doing better things there. Every time Ben Olsen meets Brian Schmetzer, he has a conversation with him. Every match. The last year, he was yelling at him. He came up. He's like, "Hey, something went wrong. You know that whole match here that went crazy." Is Brian Schmetzer, Coach Schmetz, is he his mentor? Does he mentor? Does he coach like Ben Olsen? They seem to have a different relationship. The same. He walked up to him today and had a whole bunch of things to say to him at the end of the match, and Coach Schmetz obviously respects him, and they all love him. I want to know if you guys know anything about the relationship between those two.
I will dig in. I'm gonna message some sources. Ari, you hit that while I message some sources.
I honestly hadn't heard of any special type relationship between Schmetz and Benny O. It's certainly possible. They've both been in the league for a long time. Benny O, I mean, he played for DC, then coached them for he was in that organization for 25 years or something. I just want to see Benny O's presser tonight because he was so steamed about the red card. I mean, I have to imagine that's going to be an easy blazing hot.
He was. I think that's what they were talking about. I mean, I'm not, I'm no John Boy, I'm no lip reader over here, but it seemed like that's what they were talking about. He was like, "What's up with that red card, man?" I think that's kind of what he was doing.
Well, I know they're all the coaches are close in MLS, even when you think they aren't.
Everyone in MLS is close. Even GMs.
Yeah, well, last year I think it was did we draw or we won here, and it was controversial. And Schmetz goes to shake his hand, and he cuts into him. He's like, "Oh, is that blah blah blah?" I don't read lips either. I'm like, clearly you two have a relationship because you wouldn't approach the most tenured MLS coach. I mean, he was only second after Vermes. Sorry, Coach Vermes. I think he's gone
Peter
now.
Peter V.
Yeah, PV. But yeah, that's all I came in to speculate about their relationship after they got shellacked by us down in their own home, and red card or whatever. It was good for us.
Well, we'll close it out for you with this question here. Jordan
Yes,
gets back. Moose is still cooking. Who do you start?
Wow. You think I have you think I have a brain on me here. Okay, so Jordan's our DP. You gotta start him. Or what you do is you work him in, right? So Moose has the hot hand, you play him up front, and then you play Morris 30 minutes at the end, and you let it work itself out.
That's what I was going to say. Exactly.
That's probably the correct thing. Jake, the coach over here, taking over Brian Schmetzer's job so he can be the mentor to Benny O. Thank you so much for calling in.
Noah, can I say one more thing? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Too. You guys ever want to hear an embarrassing story about me meeting Siggy Schmidt in 2016 in LA? I'm not going to do it on video, but I will definitely tell you guys I met him, and he was a hero of mine, and I made an ass out of myself. That also, I bought some hot sauce. My wife and I bought some hot sauce. So,
well, heck yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And I guess we can use this to announce we have our own hot sauce coming out in just about a month, a little bit less than that. But we're officially bottling it. It's our Lobbing Scorcher's name on it.
Like our branded ours.
We've
case.
There we go. Jake, thank you so much for calling in. We'll see you soon. Have a great weekend, man.
Thanks, Jake.
Well, yeah.
All right, we're going to bring an extra panelist on here because we got to ask him. Jeremiah, I'm going to bring you on. Are you ready? I see you stretching. I don't want to. Okay, you're good. You're just looking too cool. You're just looking like, yo.
That's how it goes.
Do we know if Benny O is like any relationship with Schmetzer? Do we know? We had a previous
I would imagine they have a good relationship, but Benny, hard to believe, he was coaching for 6 years at DC United before Schmetzer got the job. So I don't know that Schmetzer is like a mentor as much as he is a contemporary. But I think, Brian has good relationships with a lot of coaches. He famously was really close with Adrian Heath. They would always get a bottle of wine together the night before a game. And of course, he owned Adrian Heath like no other coach has ever owned someone. So that's how it goes. But yeah, I can understand why Ben Olsen might be frustrated. It does seem like his team gets a lot of red cards against the Sounders. But
maybe they should stop committing red card offenses, Jeremiah.
Yeah,
have they thought about that?
I was a little surprised I was surprised how many people thought that was a controversial red card. To me, it looks like he hits it twice with his hand. And the only question to me was whether or not the second time was in the box. I thought it was, but whatever, red card is fine. My understanding of the rule though, is that he would have had to have been judged to purposefully hit it with his hand for it to be a penalty or a red card if it had been a penalty, but sort of not calling it a penalty made it a little bit easier of a call because look, if you're the last man back and you handle it, you're going to get a red card. That's how it goes.
Tough, but yeah.
Well, listen, maybe Danzig Katz is going to come in here and defend our boy Femi. Are you ready? Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumb. Yep. All right. We're adding you in here. Listen, you don't have to defend him.
Oh my God.
That's me. That's just me. But
he's in the dark. Danzig.
There we go. We got a light on. How we doing? Give us your opening thoughts and statements and opinions and feelings and everything.
It's fun watching Sounders again. Am I right?
They're fun.
It's fun. They're going to the end line, cutting it back. Guys are making runs into the box. What are we doing? We're scoring goals. I'm fun.
Who would have thought?
It's fun. Georgie, it's fun. He's having fun. Nuhu, overlapping runs. What? Crosses into the box. Nuhu, crosses. What? Passes.
Nuhu lining up for free kicks.
Passes. Nuhu, what's going on? He's a real left back now. He's legit.
What do you think happened? What do you think happened to him?
Ryan Kent.
What do you think happened to Nuhu to put some sort of sense into him?
Ryan Kent on the practice field was like,
figuring it out.
It was Ryan Kent.
Sorry, I jumped in on you. Sorry.
No, you're good. It
is
probably
it's
Ryan
on the
Kent.
practice field. Ryan Kent is saying, overlap here. I'll get it to you. Get it back to me. I'm getting to the end line. Put a cross in. Practice some crosses. Yeah.
But the crosses are accurate.
Yeah. Who's the man now? I don't know. And
Nuhu's locked in.
Jesus with a great through ball to Georgie. I'm not the Jesus hater.
No more Jesus hatred.
But I will get that tattoo.
Are we? Oh, this is you're the tattoo guy.
Yeah, this is Tat Bet.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Okay. All right. Listen, here we go. This is the real crux of the call here. I didn't mean to pocket you till the end. I would have put you at the front here, buried the lead. But all right, I am not getting a tattoo of Jesus Ferreira on my body because that will not happen. But I will get like a JF or something.
Yeah,
is that fair?
You can get. It can be a portrait It can be.
Okay.
It can say Jesus. It could be a number 9. It could be.
Okay, I'll do the 9. I'll do the 9,
Number
but I'll do it looking cool.
I think it should
Like,
be
it'll
his
a
little.
cool-
I think it should be his little graphic design logo. That's his Instagram avatar.
Well,
You could
okay,
do something
regardless.
like that.
We'll do a vote. We'll do a poll. People can pick from a couple of options if this happens, but here's the bet. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but
Yeah.
if Jesus Ferreira is able to score 5 goals, all competitions?
No, MLS. You want to go? I'll go all competitions. I'll go all with playoffs, everything.
Okay.
I'll go all. Okay, so
5 goals, all comps.
6 or more, and 5 or less for me.
Okay, 5.5 is the line.
So 5 or less goals, you get a tattoo. 6 or more, I do.
Done.
Done.
Deal.
Okay, so I already have a tattoo on my left butt cheek from losing a bet to my kids.
Okay.
Let's do this.
The butt cheeks hurt, though.
Bets. It says don't make bets, but let's do this.
Here, virtual handshake. There we go. This is it. There we go.
Nice.
Well, I'm excited for this bet. I will put it, I don't know, I'll put it on my body somewhere. I have enough tattoos. No one will see it anyway.
Yeah, I'm covered. Yeah, don't.
You know, I'm covered, bro. It's all good, dude. But
please, bro.
Yeah. But okay, all right. So the non, you're not a hater. What would we call you? What did I call myself? The disliker. Like, I was the Moose disliker. You're the Jesus Ferreira disliker. But you even had some good things to say about him today.
So yeah, he came around
on that for us.
Yeah, great through ball. Great weight on it. Yeah. Had a little curve to it for Georgie. Dude, come on.
Man, now I'm sweating. Now I'm like, I'm gonna have to start showing up to some of these training sessions, Jeremiah. I'm gonna have to be like, all right, Jesus, come on. Let's go, buddy. Come on. I'm gonna start playing him in some
say
balls.
if this is a goal, I have been I was a big promoter of Jesus in the preseason, and I think he's been okay. But I will say that his goal scoring, he's not showing any. Like, if you're sitting the over under on goals, I think you're both the under is looking pretty solid right now. I mean, the guy, he's not shooting. I mean, that's the unfortunate reality. As good as he looks playmaking, he is just not getting in. He's not in the box. He's not getting shots off. And Albert Rusnak continues to show that you can be a goal scorer from deeper in the field than he's been. So I don't know. How are the haters on Rusnak going these days?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, it's not gonna the goals aren't gonna count because it was against a 10-man team.
Yeah.
Is that the standard?
That's one of the criteria.
That's
Houston wasn't.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Houston was one of the teams that it counts against anyway. So even if it was 11v11, it wouldn't have counted. But with
because they're under the playoff line.
Okay. Yeah.
No, you got to qualify it, Jeremiah.
Yeah. No,
also, it wasn't raining and the temperature was under 85, so you have to adjust.
Yeah.
It's like it's like an XG.
Good notes.
Yeah.
Hey,
all right. Let's.
Did you want to go? Did you want to go on secondary assists for a rant?
I've done enough of that the last 2 live shows. We can save that. We can save that for
another. I better get that assist back.
That's what I'm saying.
I heard MLS robbed him of an assist today. That is bump.
It's the damn oligarch.
They got to give that back. I don't know what we're because it deflected a tiny bit. What are we talking about?
That's a good ball.
It's only because it's Paul Rothrock. You think if Messi puts that ball in, they're even thinking about taking the assist away?
They're counting that as a goal for Messi.
What are we talking about?
Yeah. All right. Close us out here. I'm just going to call you Dan. I don't know if it's Dan, but it's just I don't know.
Any last thoughts or takes on
thoughts.
the 3-1 win over Houston Dynamo?
From me?
Yeah, from me.
Secondary assists, got to go. That's all I got.
Oh, have a good night, man. We appreciate you calling in. You're getting that tattoo, buddy. You're getting that tattoo. All right, man. What did I do to myself? What did I do to myself, guys?
I think
it's fine. If you lose it, you can just do a little small one.
Talking about
6 goals, all comps. So,
I mean, I say this with nothing but love in my heart for Jesus. I think 6 goals is a safe. I think you're safe, man. That's a lot of goals at this point.
No,
he's taken like 7 shots.
No, he has to score.
Noah's on the other side of the
6
bet.
goals. Yeah.
Wait, you're on the other side of that?
Yeah.
Like if he doesn't score 6 goals, you got to get a tattoo?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, you're in trouble, my man.
Yeah. But
I don't think it says.
God forbid a guy believe in his team. You know, God forbid he goes against the doubters.
I don't think
And
it's
now it's going to be
guaranteed
so
that
much
he's
sweeter when he
gonna.
scores.
I don't think it's guaranteed that like he's gonna be taking this few amount of shots the whole season.
Well, there we go.
I wouldn't say that's guaranteed, but he's got some work to do.
He's got work to do.
He's got some work to do. Well, Jeremiah, I got my question in today, although
You sure did.
I had a audio mishap and Brian Schmetzer was laughing at me. So I felt like Ari a little bit. But you know what? As things go, you asked some questions in the presser, to which I wrote some questions down based on that. I wanted to ask you this question, and Ari as well. Has there ever been a better comeback for the Seattle Sounders than Danny Musovski? From in the mud, a guy who I think it's fair to say was frustrating to watch at points, and now looking like a bona fide, qualified starting striker. I mean, that's it breaking records or getting on the record books.
What are the other good comebacks? I would argue Nelson Valdez is in there because he got the playoff goal.
Yeah, but that was a different kind of comeback. Nelson Valdez had some moments that were nice, and maybe that's a good shout. He did have 2 playoff goals, so that's a good shout. That's a good shout. But that was not an extended run of good form. That was like Danny Musovski looks like a different player. He's
the hottest number 9 in the league.
Anyone in MLS? Well, I don't know. That's not true. There's been good comeback stories, but I mean, Danny Musovski. I don't know what the rules are on comeback player of the year these days. But I mean, not hyperbolically, he would be in the running for comeback player of the year right now. He is. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. This is not just a hot run of finishing form. He is consistently putting himself in dangerous spots. You look at the run he made on the goal and the way he sort of inside outs that, and he just fades to the back post. That's instinctual stuff that he is just becoming so good at. He is in the flow of finding spaces and being in the right spot at the right time. I mean, I don't think he's going to be a 15-goal scorer or anything, but I mean, I don't see any reason why he can't be a goal every other game type of scorer just by his movement. His movement is so good right now.
His movement on the goal tonight in particular.
Yeah,
God,
it was
perfect.
Beautiful.
That was just a great team goal. I think for me, the things that stand out about this performance overall, which is they got the first goal, which as the road team, that's if you can do that, that's like test number 1 passed. And then, like I said earlier, once they got the red card, once they got the man advantage, they capitalized on it. That doesn't always happen. That doesn't always happen.
And I want to say another thing about this, the last couple of weeks especially, is that, one of the things that's been frustrating about the Sounders is that even when they get the goal, they don't always keep their foot on the gas. And and I think maybe this week you could maybe criticize them for maybe being too committed to putting their foot on the gas. But they, this week and last week, they were showing really good attacking instincts of not wanting to just rest on a 1-goal lead and wanting to push for more. And I think that's really encouraging because it not only is it just a good tactic, I think it also speaks to the mentality that this team has right now, which is they just want to get goals on the board. And, I think it's just a really good, I think this is, they're playing really well right now. And I think it's notable that this is a team, let's not forget, they're missing Paul Arriola. They're missing Jackson Reagan. They're missing Jordan Morris. This is not the optimal group that this team has. And I don't know, and maybe that's working in their favor in a weird way. But I think there are plenty of teams who you lose a Defender of the Year finalist, you lose a potential MVP candidate, and you lose what was looking like your biggest offseason acquisition, and they're looking better. Like, I don't know if they at this point. I'm trying to think if they ever looked better than they've looked over the last few weeks. Last year, I mean, they had some, around Leagues Cup they had a good run. I mean, I guess they did finish the second half of the season with an amazing record, so maybe I'm underselling that. But this offense is clicking in a way that I don't remember it clicking in a long time.
No, I agree, and I think also Yeimar, he's had some rocky moments, but that secondary assist today, yeah, that secondary assist today was Jackson Reagan-esque.
His which one?
His secondary assist that he got, that long ball, that long pass.
Oh, okay.
Up the side that led to, I can't remember.
Yeah. It was that's what led to the second goal, I think. Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. That was like
that was good. You're right. And the one that set up the Pedro de la Vega cut, or the Pedro de la Vega cutback.
Yeah. Well, we got another caller, so let's bring him in now. If you're ready, Gianni, give us a thumbs up. All right. Welcome to the show. How we doing? How we feeling? What do we got to say?
Man, just happy about a great Sounders win. Kent's play has just been phenomenal. It's just shocking that this guy is coming off of not playing for an entire year and somehow just coming on and turning defenders inside out. Just impeccable runs. His movement, his passing is just outrageous.
I mean, he's the greatest player to ever touch turf. I think we can say that. Like,
I mean, Messi could take some notes, I guess. I mean, just saying.
Listen, I mean, Miami, they're getting close to being on fraud watch. Me and Ari were just talking about this.
They got beat down 4-1 today, so I don't know what to say.
If they were starting Ryan Kent.
I'll tell you, here's my hot take. I think I would be willing to bet more money on Miami finishing below fourth than above fourth in the East. I think they are.
Yeah. Their defense
you think they're that
atrocious. They
I
do not know what they're doing.
I don't think they are. I mean, they
the
can
coach is
put
ass.
it back together, but I think they're gonna. I think they lost a lot of momentum. I mean, this was. I think going out of Champions League or Champions Cup was a big blow.
The vibes just seem way off now.
Well, we've been saying this.
Like, yeah.
We've been saying this.
It's hard to keep a team like that together when you've got that many people making that much money in MLS. It's just not sustainable. You cannot have the depth that you need in order to play the number of matches that they were going to be required to play. And going forward, it just looks like, great, you signed all these big name players that make a lot of money that what are they doing? They're not producing at the level that they need to be. They signed a bunch of names. It looks like MLS 1.0, where you get these DPs that are they're old, they're like the retirement league DPs. You have Messi, who is still clearly like one of the best players in the world, but a lot of these other guys are just they're not performing up to their contracts.
Yeah, it's a tough scene down there in Miami, and who knows? Maybe that's good for the Seattle Sounders, who will travel there towards the end of the season.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Who knows? But I want to ask you this question, okay?
Yes.
There is the potential that Danny Musovski could tie the longest regular season goal-scoring streak in Seattle Sounders history against his former club, LAFC. That's some tea right there. Are we loving that? Are we hating that? How are we feeling about that? Do you start him with that sole purpose? Or do you wait?
I think you start him anyways. Right now, you cannot drop him to the bench. And I know that like Jordan Morris is our DP. Jordan Morris was performing very well. Jordan Morris was injured, came back, immediately got re-injured. And I don't think that you can bench a player who's performing at Moose's level just because you have a DP sitting on the bench. Like Jordan Morris is going to be under pressure to get back onto the field at this point.
Do you think it's a Rothrock situation where they ended up benching Rui Diaz to fit Rothrock into the squad because they were just playing better that way?
I think it's a little bit of a different situation, mostly because they didn't drop Rui Diaz for Rothrock. They dropped Rui Diaz for Jordan Morris. Paul Rothrock was just the beneficiary of that. So
Fair
it's
enough.
a little bit of a different situation.
Also, I should know Jordan Morris is out like 5 or 6 more weeks, guys.
Yeah,
he's
it's
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a while, and then he's going to have to regain fitness. Also, when you're out for 5-6 weeks on a hamstring, that means you're also not doing the cardio that you need to be able to play large numbers of minutes. So even getting back to game fitness after a 6-week injury it's not like you just come back and you're like, okay, ready to go. You have to go from like 15 minutes.
Yeah, so even when he gets back, it's not even going to be an issue because they'll have to keep starting Moose for a while anyway.
Yeah.
The bigger question I think for LAFC is whether or not they want to they just want to rest Danny. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Osaze gets a start.
I would love to see a D-Row start. Let's go.
Because I just think they're going to want to set this up as much as possible to have a full strength squad against Portland, and they don't want to.
I want to beat down for Portland.
Do you play Danny at all in that LAFC game?
Oh yeah,
sure. Why not? Yeah, give him 30.
It's his former team, of course you do.
15, 30, depending on the game's looking. But yeah, let him get on the field. Let him make sure he stays hot. Like, you don't want to run the guy into the ground, but also strikers are streaky. Like, you do not want to just bury someone on the bench just because, he's getting a number of, he's getting too many minutes on his legs. You want to give the guy an opportunity to play it.
Yeah. And plus, if he knows, if you're going to play on the weekend, you're basically just on your normal schedule anyway. You're just not playing your midweek matchup, that's not really that much of a bump in your step, I guess. But we'll close this out here with any final thoughts you have. And we got another caller in the queue. So
yeah, absolutely. I will say that for as great as this game was, I do still have one pretty big concern, and that's our set piece defending. What are we doing back there?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So if I could just add, it's the defending, yes, but also giving up these free kicks in dangerous spots. That would be my only complaint about this game tonight, is that it's a game that you have in hand where you're just gifting them. Jack McGlynn is one of the best in the league at exactly that. So they did that, Georgie did it at the end of the game, and I was tilted about it, and then Osaze did it a minute later.
I think the Osaze one was a little soft, I'm not gonna lie. But the Georgie one, dude, you just gave up a penalty in Open Cup, ripping a dude down by his jersey. You're giving up another dumb free kick, not too far outside
allegedly a penalty. Allegedly.
Sure.
Allegedly.
Sure. Yeah, allegedly a penalty. But, I mean, you cannot be pulling these guys down. They feel that arm on their shoulder or their back, and they're going to go down. And if there is any sort of grabbing or contact, the ref is going to blow that foul every time. The guy is facing away from his box, away from our box, towards the end line. If he tries to turn, you get your body on him. You just stay goal side of him. You shepherd him to the side, but you do not drape your arm over him and let him go down and get a foul. That is just, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better.
It's just bad defense.
Yeah, Georgie's still raw, man. That's why he's still getting minutes with the Defiance, I think. It feels like,
and honestly, right now,
there.
I think he needs to be getting more minutes on Defiance. There are certain things that he brings to the game that can be great. I don't think you bring him in when we're trying to close down a game. He is, and I said this in the Discord, he embodies chaos ball, and chaos ball is not great when you're trying to close out a game.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for calling in, Gianni. We appreciate you and hope you have a great rest of your weekend and hope you call back in.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Gianni.
See you later. All right. We got another caller, but do we have anything to say in the interim?
No, bring him on.
All right. Rob, you ready to go? Boom. Rob, welcome back to the stream.
Hi, guys.
How are we doing?
Doing great. How are you guys?
It's great. Sounders won.
Right? Jeremiah, good to see you again.
I think he's typing his article right now.
I'm editing Tim's story, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Holly says hi, by the way.
Oh, hey.
So, going from macro to micro, right? So, great positive on the win. I think another positive is, the Sounders have often struggled at times when, they've been playing teams that were down a man. I've lost count of the number of times I have sweated out results with us, playing up a man. And I'm like, what are we doing? So that was good. It was good to see them, put them to the sword when they needed to do that, and getting those 2 goals I thought were effective. Sorry, statement of the obvious. The other thing that I found really interesting was in the second half, bringing on De La Vega with Kent. We had talked about, or you guys had mentioned earlier, how in the first half, Kent was getting double teamed really hard and a lot. It was very interesting when De La Vega came on, and suddenly you have 2 pretty solid skilled players on each wing. Of course, they're also down a man, which makes it tough, but they were finding a harder time trying to double team even in the defense when they have to split their attention. And, Musovski is already beginning to occupy defenders. So I found that interesting, and that'll be an interesting wrinkle to see how they continue that pairing going forward, or, that lineup, as Schmetz looks at his depth. Going to some of the negatives, I felt like while Yeimar did have one, had the good line breaking pass that kind of set up the 1 goal, he had about 4 different ones that I counted that got intercepted. It was very obvious we missed Jackson Reagan in that role. Our effectiveness breaking those passes, or getting those line breaking passes to connect, was really tough. And then Georgi, the good and the bad, the bad, he had, the pull down you guys just talked about. But on the good side, towards the end of the game, he turned Jack Dorsey so hard to the end line.
Yeah, he did.
And literally Dorsey is just collapsed in a heap, and that's just one of the roughest things as a defender is, like, they're just drilled. You never let that winger beat you to the end line. Never let him beat you to the end line, right? And Georgie just smoked him. Yeah. So those were my thoughts.
I love it. I completely agree that laying Jack Dorsey out in any contact there is good. It's a good bit. Like, you can't complain about that. I want to ask you a question. Okay. Sure. Danny Musovski, we know the guy. We know what he's been doing. But there's a thing in the air. It is a contract year for the guy. Some people have been saying, or I've heard rumblings of, he's only playing this way because it's a contract year. He's only playing this way because it's a contract year. What are your takes on it? What are your takes on if we should re-sign him or not as well?
My gut reaction is that's a wildly simplistic take, for a professional Major League Soccer striker, a professional top tier, division striker. Danny Musovski has had ups and downs. You kind of look back at his career, he's ebbed and flowed. Is he definitely kind of in a, higher upswing on the sine wave? Absolutely. He's definitely peaking. But to say that, this is a contract year, so suddenly he's found religion and he knows he's playing for a paycheck. Who knows what lies in the hearts of men, right? I mean, that's could be. I don't think so. Like I said, I think that's a pretty simplistic take. I think it's a combination of he's gotten a lot of minutes. He is in his second year with roughly the same group of players. So I think he is familiar with the setup. I think the 4-2-3-1 flatters his skills. And I think the other thing is Musovski definitely play. This probably isn't a great analogy, but I use that Wondolowski, analogy of, he's scoring a lot of Wando style goals, right?
Yeah.
Gets in the box, gets in good positions, and is burying the chances that he should be burying, right? And Wando made a career of that, and I think, maybe he's beginning to kind of hit that stride. Maybe he's figuring out, okay, this is how I get myself into good positions with these guys. And, as you guys were talking about, I think on an earlier episode, are these repeatable actions? That's one of the biggest indicators, right? And I mean, all of his goals have been fairly repeatable, maybe one or two weren't, but, they've all been, good repeatable actions. And that is a good indicator of, or an indicator of good coaching.
Rob, we got to get your take on just the Ryan Kent experience as a whole. What have you seen from the guy so far?
Obviously a very skilled player, very good technical skill. I think he brings a level of technical skill that's not very common in MLS, certainly not of players like him. And I think that's I think that was kind of obvious. I was very excited. It was one of those, when they signed him, my interest was piqued. I was like, oh,
your bum was out of a seat.
Yeah, and it was, and and my gut reaction when you hear the line about him falling out of favor with Jose Mourinho is like, well, name a halfway decent player who's played with him who hasn't. I mean, he's kind, Jose Mourinho is a bit of a controversial figure and is known to to have problems with players. That's not a new thing for him. So
he's kind of the opposite of Brian Schmetzer.
For real. So I totally get it. So that's where I was kind of like, be interesting to see, so, and then of course my next thought was, is he fit? Right. He hasn't been playing. So that'll really be the big question is he fit? Is he in shape? And then the first reports that you guys were all giving us was, he's showing up and, fitness is looking pretty good. Like for a guy who's been out 6 months, he's in really good shape. And so I'm like, oh, okay, this could be interesting. And I think as he's working into match fitness, I think we are seeing all that. The guy of great solid technical skills, rebuilding fitness. Speed looks pretty comparable to other MLS players. I mean, he doesn't look to be burning the wheels off of anybody out there. But, definitely great positioning, great ball handling. It almost seemed like tonight there were probably a couple of times where he was making passes that he would expect people to normally be able to receive, and our guys weren't ready for him.
Yeah.
Like he was almost too advanced at times in the way he was thinking one or two, certain angles he was taking on some passes. Nothing catastrophic. I mean, he never it didn't seem like he ever put the ball into a dangerous spot where it got intercepted, but he definitely did. You could see guys having to react a few times like, oh shit, that was coming to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of my take on Ryan.
Well, heck yeah, Rob. Thanks so much. Do you have anything else here to close us out?
I don't.
All right.
Other than great win, really appreciate you guys doing this. Love the content and keep it up. Appreciate you.
Well, we appreciate you, Rob, and we will see you soon. You're one of our favorite callers, so have a good night.
Right on. Cheers, guys.
Rob.
Another Sounders win in Bikini Bottom.
No callers in the queue right now, so if you want to hop on and lay down some takes, first come, first serve.
I'm gonna lay down my take, Ari. Okay?
Yeah.
I saw this comment. It says Kent's shirt is too big. He needs a smaller jersey. We haven't talked about that enough. Like, he's so yoked in wearing a size small jersey that, like, how can you blame the guy? Like, it's like, he looks good. Like, he's a good looking guy.
Grabbing him.
Yeah. And speaking of jerseys, listen, I made a promise to chat that if we got a certain number of super chats, I would beg for forgiveness from Danny Musovski, as well as buy a Danny Musovski jersey. So I have to do that. So I'm gonna we've got, this is an option here, okay? We've got an option here of a Las Vegas Lights Danny Musovski
that
jersey.
one is so sick.
With
a Bitcoin logo on it.
See, I was gonna say it should be a Sounders one, but like I think you should.
No, that's
get
way
that.
better. What are you talking about? That's sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta make sure I don't show my credit card information like I'm Jeremiah, but I'm buying it.
That's
okay?
a great purchase, honestly. It's a net W for you.
This is gonna come to me and to the Lobbing Scorchers mansion, and I will wear it.
Are you sure that's Las Vegas Lights? I thought he played for Reno 18.
He played for the Lights very briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is. I will say
when they were LAFC,
this might be game worn. This might be game worn.
I mean, yeah, I honestly didn't even realize he played. I guess that was when he was with LAFC. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's their feeder club.
Right.
Wait, I gotta make sure this doesn't show my address. Okay, wait, hold on. And
can I change the subject real quick?
Yeah. Ordered.
Okay.
Ordered. Moose Kid is purchased. I will wear it next podcast or whenever it gets in. Go, Ari.
Did you guys see that the LA Galaxy lost to the New York Red Bulls 7-0?
Oh my god,
7-0, dude!
That shit was personal, dude.
Worst start in MLS history. I love that for a while we were talking about, oh, this is the worst start for a defending MLS Cup champion. What are we talking like?
The worst start period.
Yeah,
the worst start ever.
7-0 though. What is happening?
Yeah, there's a great shot of Vanny talking to the players after the game, and what's the guy that used to play for the Sounders? His nephew, the center back.
No clue. I'm not tapped in that enough, and I was trying to also look if this was game worn or not. I'm gonna just ask Danny. I'm gonna be like, "Yo, bro."
Anyway, there's a look on the. Why am I blanking on his name? Damn it!
I don't know.
Anyway.
Warren something?
No. This is good.
This is great content. Do elevator music.
Eric. What the fuck?
Eric Zavaleta.
Eric Zavaleta. This is his nephew. He's just sitting there, like looking at him, like.
It's the last goal that the Red Bulls got was just an unbelievable own goal. But like, dude, I have so many pressers to catch up on because I need to hit Ben O's obviously, and then Greg Van.
Yeah, he's probably steamed, huh?
Ben O.
Did you see the one that I sent?
No.
There's Michael Boxall, and speaking to reporter, this is a Charles Boehm post.
Recently?
I'm gonna add this to the screen. Hold on, let's see.
Why
I
is
think
Michael
I don't
Boxall-
know.
They won.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Let me pull this up here. Michael Boxall got a yellow card for this, and it was I don't know. I guess he walked back to the technical area and yelled at someone because they threw the ball at him. Anyway, I don't want to get DMCA.
What is that? What is that phrase? I don't even know. I'm not cool enough to even know what that phrase means.
When asked about the yellow, some people told me this is kind of like a dick riding league, but that was up there with, I don't know how else to explain that. That was special. Basically, listen, let's not to be Urban Dictionary out here, but it's like they're bouncing, like they're
placating,
they're glazing.
They're placating Messi.
Yeah.
What?
They're on their knees for Messi, basically. The
Like,
refs.
I think the sentiment is like random calls like that go in favor of Inter Miami because they get the superstar treatment. That's like what he's saying.
Connor, find me in Seattle says, I'm still thinking about how someone just got $150 for that Musovski kit. It wasn't $150. The total was like $187. So they got close to damn near $200 for that fucking kit. And
Connor, my man.
Fault. So
I love Connor.
We love Connor. We love Connor. Connor's a Lobbing Scorchers fan. And Connor, when are you gonna take us out to eat some food? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I took him out to eat a few weeks ago.
You did.
I did.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
I took him to Hey Bagel.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good.
I was picking his brain.
Oh, you were doing content.
Kinda. I mean, I was trying to do content.
Anyway, back to the meat riding. I just think it's crazy that he said that. And so if there is an actual video of him saying that, I need to see it.
God, I might have to just start making montages for the Blazing Hot pressers. They're too many.
Yeah, I gotta.
There's not a player one.
There's no way they actually like put that up on YouTube, right? Because he's gonna get fined for that.
Yeah, he'll get fined.
What is this?
So one of the things, funny, they put it on YouTube story was. Oh, now.
Oh my God! No, it's here. It's here. It's here. It's here.
What?
They have. I found. Apparently, this is the video. I don't know if they've cut it out or not.
They probably cut it out.
Find it.
I don't know. MLS teams are pretty loose with this stuff.
Mark Asher Goodman, the Rapids rabbi, was telling me that.
Nope. It's there. It's there.
That's right.
Okay.
That's where I heard it. It was on your show.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm thinking of.
That's how the Anthony Hudson thing came to be, is laziness.
Here we go. Okay, wait. Ready? Let me know if you guys can hear it.
You've seen this team through pretty much its whole MLS existence. Where does it sort of rank in terms of
I love that you didn't cue it up
outside of the playoffs in terms of regular season wins?
I don't know, probably like at least top 100, top 50. I mean, that's 3 points. I'm happy that the crowd got to enjoy that. Yes, obviously a performance and some
Did you call
goals
it a top 50 win of his career?
Most of the crowd.
He was joking.
Yeah, I was joking.
No, that's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah, no, that was great
Crowd
deadpan.
happy, so,
I like this guy.
Yeah, something to build on. But yeah, with 12 games in now, we just got to keep building on that. Look forward to Wednesday now.
Did you get a satisfactory explanation about the yellow card that you got?
No, honestly, I don't know. Like, some people had told me that this is kind of like a dick riding league, but that was kind of up there with, I don't know, to experience that kind of, I don't know.
Minnesota's never going to take this down. What are you talking about? This is they're going to see thousands of they're going to see a record like 1,400 hits on this.
No, because we're going to take it and put it in our YouTube shorts before they can capitalize.
I love that they put that up.
I'm downloading this immediately though, just in case.
That's a display of courage, is what that is.
That is, I mean, listen, I can't even explain. I feel like the Sounders would not publish that.
No, the Sounders have I don't think people appreciate how much different of an operation the Sounders run than virtually every other MLS team. It's like a real professional sports organization. Most MLS teams are not like, and I say this as a big fan of this league, most teams in this league are not run like they're run much closer to minor league sports teams than like major sports teams. That's not me being like, that's not me throwing shade. That's just a reality. Most teams do, like the Sounders have like 15 people working post game.
Yeah, it's true. It is like there's actually reporters and shit too. Like people don't understand. Like
right. It's such a different operation.
Yeah. You're blessed. You're blessed to even have multiple podcasts about the team. Like,
dude, people get podcasts almost every day. They get Sounders content just from our channel alone. It's crazy.
Yeah. From the Sounder at Heart Podcast Network, which, Jeremiah, you can subscribe to by going to sounderatheart.com/LS, scrolling down to subscribe and support, because right now we are on the push to get to 100 subs directly from Lobbing Scorchers to the Sounder at Heart website. And
we already got our
Waylon
Francis.
Chat,
you guys are killing me.
Yeah. You want to be our Waylon Francis? Come on.
I think
you want to bankrupt Jeremiah?
Yeah.
Come on.
Wow. Do you guys have anything else on the Sounders game? Maybe.
I want to just give a shout out to Cristian Roldan, who I feel like the last few weeks has been on an absolute.
He's on fire.
He's not scoring goals and he's not getting assists necessarily, although he maybe got a secondary assist, but he's just everywhere defensively. He's making
71
shit happen.
of 75 passes tonight.
What was he?
71 of 75 passes tonight.
Yeah,
his
crazy.
Like, his ball winning.
Yeah, that's his ball winning is just unbelievable right now.
Yeah, 2 for 2 on tackles. I mean, 9 recoveries, 8 defensive actions, 3 interceptions.
Yeah,
10 duels won, 6 lost. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, he's I think it's funny because it was a few weeks ago where people were like, I really think we need to make a change at defensive midfielder. Maybe JP needs to be playing for Cristian, and I was like, I don't know, this guy might be the best defensive mid in the league. And I'll tell you, the last few weeks he's been put on a show. Yeah, I guess against Colorado, people were kind of down on him after Colorado, but
I thought I was going to say more San Diego.
San Diego was probably
no, for sure. For sure, he looked bad against San Diego. I will say, I thought he struggled against San Diego, but totally different player right now. That was the game that started this 5-game run they're on, and he looked great in that. He's looked great since then.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
The Seattle Sounders are up to 5th in the West, making a run. They get to play 2 games this week, one against LAFC, who's right below them in 6th right now. LAFC is playing tomorrow, though, so
they're playing at Vancouver tomorrow, so they'll be on 1 day
lose
rest
tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean,
short rest.
I don't know that Vancouver's going to lose again this year.
I can't wait.
No, they're not. They're not, dude. They're the best team to ever. They're the best team in North America. Can we talk about that? The Vancouver Whitecaps. This is a Whitecaps podcast. We were a Galaxy podcast last year.
Man, are you guys bummed about the Galaxy? I just got to bring that up. You guys, this was a Galaxy podcast for a long time.
Well,
yeah. And have we just dropped them like a bad habit? Or
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Basically,
we dropped them without even a second thought.
Okay.
I mean, as soon as as soon as Ricky Puig was out of the equation and Joey Paints was injured and Gabriel Peck turned bad and Dejan Joveljic wasn't on the team, we're out. We're on to the Whitecaps.
I gotta say, it's gonna be very funny if Pedro ends up outproducing.
This is us with the Whitecaps in the Galaxy. This is us.
It's gonna be very funny if Pedro ends up outproducing Gabriel Peck this year, because they were sort of compared last year a lot, and granted, Peck could barely you could barely compare their production, but he looks like a. Funny how he looks like a different player without getting passes from Ricky Puig.
Yeah,
Ricky Puig retroactively should. I saw you post this, Jeremiah. Should have retroactively earned MVP.
Yeah, no, I think that you just gotta go back and you gotta give him the MVP. I don't see how else. I don't see what else what other conclusion can be drawn. Messi needs to drive it back to Ricky Puig's house and say, from one Barcelona kid to another, here's the MVP. Thank you for letting me loan it, but this is yours. Obviously,
duh.
Yeah.
Kind of related to that, I was gonna say it's probably worth a shout for De La Vega because honestly, the last couple games before this game, I was starting to think he's had a good start to the season, but I feel like he just wasn't as influential the last couple weeks. You look up at the league stat sheet and he's still at 1-1. And I was thinking to myself before this game, whenever he does get in, I want to see him start to look like he was looking in CCC and at other points in the season again. And then he just gets that assist instantly after he comes on. And I was like, hell yeah, that's what I wanted to see.
Let's talk about that a little bit. That was really a great pass because when I saw him making that run, I thought, okay, he's just going to cut this back through the box.
Yes,
because it seemed like there was a runner there, but he saw Rusnak making that run, and he just cuts it back, and it was a very Ryan Kent-esque
Yes.
cutback, you can call it that these days, and just set it up perfectly.
I was so
I've
ready
been
to be
saying
frustrated about like him wasting that space and like sending in a low
Yeah.
cross that doesn't find anyone. And then and I was going to be frustrated that he didn't just hit Rusnak cutting back, and then he hit it.
You know, not to sound like one of our callers here, but I agree with you, and I think that like this was something I said on the podcast was Ryan Kent has so much to give to a guy like Pedro de la Vega. Like he can work so much and like be kind of that mentor to a Pedro de la Vega who's, you know, I think probably if you're looking at raw talent, they probably both have very similar raw talent, but like someone like Ryan Kent who like he went through the like Liverpool Academy. I mean, that's like basic structure.
I think on pure talent, I think those are probably the two most talented guys on the team.
Easily.
You know, like Pedro really is I don't know if he'll ever totally put it together, but I really do think he is someone who has real star potential. Like he has got and I think he's probably more of a goal scorer than he's really shown, but I think he could be a serious goal scorer.
I think he has an MVP in his pocket one of these years.
I'll let you say that.
I think listen, I'm going to say it. Like I think he has that Evander trajectory of that slow burn. And I think if you look at it realistically, if you look at his production last year, if he can stay healthy, this is the big caveat, right? Of course it is, every soccer player. But if he can stay healthy, he's kind of on that similar Evander trajectory where you finally get settled into the league, you start to play better, and you start to play better, and you just build on these things, and game after game, you're seeing a different player that is like, then just becomes this monster.
Yeah, no, and he has I think he does have some of the Evander skill set in him. And I would never say this about Evander when he was with the Timber. I just refuse to acknowledge his obvious greatness. But now
he was a fraud at the Timbers.
Yeah. Now that he's with Cincinnati, I can appreciate he is a very, very good player.
I think it's a good comp because one of Evander's calling cards is his shot from distance. De La Vega takes a lot of those. We've seen him make a couple. We've seen him put one off the post, and they got a goal out of it. I kind of want him to take a little bit less of those, but he does hit those sometimes. I think as we see him hopefully get more and more games and stay healthy, he's going to start.
I'm okay with him firing away because I do think he's got it in his bag, and I think he is. I think it's actually helping the Sounders because there is an element of keeping the defense honest, and just that cutback that he can do at the top of the box and he can do it with both feet, and I just think it opens up it opens the game up. It's not just him firing away blindly, you know.
Yeah,
but
I do know. Why don't we hit just a couple more around the league and then close it out here because we've been going for an hour and 40. We have to talk about Atlanta United losing to the Chicago Fire.
Oh, I'd love to.
I have asked this question to Ari, so I need Jeremiah's take. Listen, people complain about Craig Weibel, right? Is Garth a fraud? Is Garth a fraud?
Man, I think it's important to note that Garth is not the main soccer mind there, but you know, Chris Henderson. I guess
is Chris Henderson a fraud?
Yeah, but no, I do think there is an element. I'll say this, and I do think very highly of Garth, but I will say that there is an element of sometimes you can be over-resourced, and I think that sometimes when you have the kind of resources that they have, you can get a little loose in the way that you start making decisions, and you start spending money sort of because you can and not because you should. And I do think that he's maybe caught in a situation like that where he got a little caught up in the idea of signing the kind of player that would be playing in the Premier League, or signing a Euro, you know, like when he signed that the Polish midfielder, he made such a big deal about here's a guy who's starting for the Polish national team. You know how, you know, and it's sort of kind of similar when he signed Ladero too, where he's like, this is the number 10 for Boca Juniors. MLS could never sign this guy. And okay, that's that's true, and that I think it serves you well. But just because a guy starts for a European national team doesn't mean he's necessarily a good fit for what you're doing. I think this Russian guy is even a better example of that, where, yeah, I mean, he was a good player for Atalanta, but he's not, he wasn't the guy there.
He's so bad.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that guy looks like the biggest, maybe one of the biggest busts in MLS history.
His handball that got that called for a PK today, it literally looked like he was trying to do it.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he was playing basketball.
Like I
haven't seen it.
They
but
spent $10 million on that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Latte Loth is clearly a very good player.
Yeah, he's good.
Played like shit today, though.
But like, but the thing is that he cost you $22 million. He's got as many goals as Danny Musovski.
Moose has more now.
Moose has more now.
Okay,
yeah.
there you go. So there you go. Like, I just don't know that MLS is at a point where you can really justify spending $22 million on anyone who's not like going to sell tickets, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know that anyone, like, I looked at the crowd today in Chicago, and it was like a decent crowd, but it got me thinking, like, look at all the money they spent, and they're not a team that neutrals want to watch.
No.
I think that's fine that they're spending money. Like, I don't think you should just spend money because it's going to get neutrals to watch or anything, but I do think it speaks to, I just think he got loose with the checkbook a little bit. I think he got wrapped up in sort of talking about buying $50 million worth of players and not being as worried about, does it really make sense to spend $10 million on a 31-year-old Miguel Almiron? Like, I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense.
I thought it was a great move, but I was wrong.
I mean, I think it looked great. I think everyone thought it was a great move because it just made so much sense. But like, just pull a step back. Here's a 31-year-old player who is $10 million. That's a lot of money for a $10 million player. I mean, for a 31-year-old player who, like, it was a great story, but I do think it's like maybe indicative of a decision-making process that became a little too enamored with, like, we can do it, but without thinking, should we do it?
I think that's all like the best explanation that for like what's happening with them that I've heard.
Ari said it best. He said that this looks like a team. This looks like someone went online and tried to build the most expensive team they could without thinking about anything else, not thinking about the fit, not thinking about the league, just simply being like, I've got unlimited money. Let's see who I can put together on this lineup graphic.
And then we'll throw them all out there and it'll be awesome. Because
exactly.
On the US national team fans have this saying, like Badges FC, where it's like you sort of put together this team that just because it's like you can say, like, look at the badges of all the clubs that our players play for, right? Mm-hmm. And without really
you can't be talking about USMNT fans because that is literally every USMNT fan.
No, well, I'm not saying that I'm saying that that's the criticism of these fans, right?
I see. Okay. Yeah.
And I think that this, like, Atlanta is kind of the same way. I think Austin is a little bit the same way too, where they got so enamored with being able to say, like, we spent this much money on this guy who was in this league, and not so much looking at, like, well, did we need that player?
Yeah.
Like, they don't have Atlanta doesn't have a central playmaker, and they've spent $10 million on 3 different players.
I think it's great. I think it's great content. I hope it long may it continue.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying too, like on the last podcast when we were talking about it. It's when in MLS specifically too, when you're at such a salary capped league, it works to your advantage to have to moneyball in a certain way, right? And like make it a priority to play younger players or like find deals to bring people up through your academy or through your second team. And it's like you look at Atlanta, and every time they do that, it's just like, okay, we're just gonna like get rid of that guy. Like, let's not try and build around him or whatever.
And I don't want to let the Sounders off the hook here because I do think they could afford to spend more money than they've been spending for the last few years, and I think they have gotten unnecessarily penny pinching in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it has created a world where the talent identifiers know that got to fit in a budget. And so they're always looking for a Ryan Kent. They're always looking for a Georgie Manungu. They're always looking for, guys who are undervalued somewhere else. And, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I do think this is the other thing I think that maybe Garth appreciated, but I think is one of the things that's undoing Atlanta right now is they never really built a club culture. And
you can tell.
And you can tell exactly. Like the only person they had that was like a club culture guy was the coach that they rode at the end of last year. He'd been
Valentino.
Yeah, their assistant. They're who they keep putting in charge.
Well, right. And I think they let it. Is he in the club anymore?
He's gone. And I'm telling you, I really believe this. If they had just let Rob Valentino cook, they would be in a much better because like what you're saying about like culture, like their fans, I follow a lot of their coverage. Their fans talk about all the time, like how the guys out there, they don't look like they're playing for the badge. Like they don't look like the weight of playing for a club like that, like really means anything to them.
Right.
I feel like one thing that I can appreciate about the Sounders is like, I never question that. Like whether the players on the field like feel the weight of the badge, and theirs just don't. And that speaks to, I think, like what you're saying. They never did that.
And I think that is one of the things that everyone that comes to the Sounders talks about, how there's this expectation that you're going to contend every year. And there is sort of a weight to the badge, and there is this culture of success, and they can look around and maybe everything isn't perfect, and maybe they can see corners getting cut some places. And, I do think that there are some real issues in the back office in terms of the way that the business is being run and all these kind of things. But when it's on the on the field part is just frankly almost unimpeachable. Like they have created a culture of expectation. They have created a culture where excuses just don't fly. And that doesn't mean you win every week, and it doesn't mean you have the best team every week, and it doesn't mean they're going to win trophies every week, but that there is this baseline expectation that that's what they're there to do. And I don't know that any other MLS team really has that. And I do think that's sort of the superpower. And I do think Brian is a big part of that, because he can draw. And I think Steph Fry is a big part of that. And I think Cristian Roldan, and I think it's important that they can continuously draw lineage back essentially to, like, there's no other clubs that can do, and it's not about, they have Brian Schmetzer, the coach who used to play for the NASL Sounders. It's that they can draw a continuous line of succession from Brian Schmetzer, from frankly Alan Hudson, from the earliest days. They can draw this direct line of succession of this coach, this player turned into this, and there's just this constant involvement. You look at all the people that are involved in this team that have been around for a long time, and I just think that's one of those things. It's hard to overstate, and it doesn't mean you're going to be the best, but I do think it sets a really high floor.
No, I agree. I think we talk about all the time too. Like if it's I worry a little bit, like when Brian leaves, I know that I shouldn't, looking back, like you would have worried that Siggy would have left, right? Like for the success that they had.
Yeah.
And and Brian coming in, but I truly, to that line of, this is what we are, this is who we are. Brian Schmetzer is the Seattle Sounders. Like Brian Schmetzer, there is not a single person on the earth that cares more and knows more and is more about the Sounders than him. And it's just like, if you don't have that, if you don't have any sort of like feeling or like if everyone's just like, we're just slamming a bunch of money down and, fuck it, we're living in Atlanta. I don't know.
Well,
because like,
and again, not to put too much of a hat on this thing,
sure,
but I think a good example of this is, you look at the way the Timbers are run, and they talk about their history all the time. They talk about being able to draw a line, and they talk about it like they have no real sense of. There is no Brian Schmetzer. There is no Christian role. I mean, Diego Chara is kind of that way, but you cannot, like, he's not the DNA of the team in the same way that like it's just not the same. Like they don't have anyone that really goes back to the USL days. They don't have anyone that goes back to they have almost no one involved in the team has anything to do with the NASL era.
I mean, I don't think most people want to be involved with that team in any sort of managerial capacity, considering. But yeah, no, I agree. It is unique, and like it's something that money doesn't buy you. And I mean, it's not to discount like exactly what you're saying. Like the Sounders should be spending more money, and honestly, like if you look at the business that they're doing, it's back foot business. But like, there is something to be said. If you're looking at purely the club and the culture and all of that, there's not really another club in the league that has anything like this.
No.
We have one more caller to close us out here on our marathon stream. Hunch Punch. I don't know if you're unmuted, so I'm popping you on here. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Fantastic.
Welcome to the stream.
Thank you. Let me wind back.
Sorry, go for it. You go in.
Yeah. First off, the Defiance match and the live game or the live show, fantastic. Love the interviews. Love the work you guys did there. I was hoarse till about Friday morning.
Me too.
Well, I mean, you're in the press box or wherever. I was yelling at the ref, so yeah. God. I don't think I had been there since about the red card wedding, and yeah, that was a tough one. But I would have picked that over the World Cup or Club World Cup.
Yeah, that's a good take.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that was my question previous, and I think I would have taken that too. But pulling it up to this match, first off, let me just say these post-game shows are just so good, both in positive and negative, win or loss. It does so much for those folks that care about the team, want to talk about it, want to hear about it, want to hear y'all's take. Like it does so much good. And you guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I really do. And I think it's necessary, and you guys do a great job. And I really appreciate it. Like it's necessary for the community, and you're fulfilling that gap that just seems to have not been fulfilled till now. So thank you for that.
Well, it's an honor and a privilege, We're just having fun. It's a great space to just get it all out. It's also good because then me and Ari don't have to prep as much for our actual podcast episodes.
Fair. That said,
well, what was your takeaways from this match?
So moving Rothrock over to the right and having Kenton left, which is where he was, and he was connected to Nuhu previously, and we saw that happen, and maybe they had that in practice, but they still felt out there alone, in my opinion. They weren't connected, and I expect that to evolve. So I'm hopeful there. I am willing to, and Ari, you talked about this on Thursday. We already got the win. We got 3. We're talking about the how many points from tonight, Wednesday, and then Saturday. Well, now we've got the 3 down. We're looking at how many of 6. I will sacrifice LAFC for whatever for 3 on Saturday. 0 question.
Mm-hmm.
The part of that, though, is there's like, how does the team evolve from that? And then more importantly, well, not more importantly, what's taken from this? I'm big on Morris coming back. Musovski, how can you question that? Like, he's about to break a record. You got to put him on the field to at least give him that chance, whether it's a sub or whether it's a start. I would start him. And then being, everything that happens for Wednesday is a prep for Saturday, fundamentally. And I would prioritize Saturday, if I'm being honest.
So you're a Portland Timbers over LAFC rivalry, because I mean,
1000%.
we've been known to have some unconventional takes around the what's the better rivalry, and we've said in the latest part that it was LAFC. But I have to know, and I think Ari even said this, we beat them in the playoffs, and it was kind of like, all right, yeah, well, we're done with you now. Like we got that thing done, and now we don't have as much to prove. And LAFC are like not really the world beaters right now.
Yeah,
so I'm kind of more looking forward to Portland.
I'm totally there at this point, and it'll be interesting to see how they mix and match the lineups. Like you said, they get the 3 points to start off the road trip. So now you put yourself, you've earned a good situation here where if obviously you want to beat LAFC, but I think if you draw that game with eyes on Portland, that's not the worst thing. If you take an L, that would suck. But realistically, I mean, we were predicting on Thursday, or talking about what a good haul would be, and the optimum for me was 2-0-1, and that's on the table right now.
Yeah, and I think that's still possible. I mean, you don't play for a draw, you play for a win, and then you accept a draw on Wednesday, fundamentally. And then you measure that against what your ideal roster would be for Saturday with like rested legs or whomever. I mean, there are people who are off the table as it goes right now. Those Defiance players that felt heart done might be ideal candidates, at least for substitutions. Georgi,
Stu Hawks,
Osasi. I can't imagine they could bring up Corey, right? Like that's off the table.
Cody Bakes.
Yeah.
I think he can play. He's not suspended in the league or anything.
No, he's not suspended, but I don't know if they have the contract mechanics to bring him up for a match like that.
Oh no, he's a first teamer.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a first teamer, I believe.
There's a lot of options there. And I mean, I asked you previously, Artie, and I need a better source. I mean, you mentioned about transfer market being like individual stats being something that could be tracked, but overall team stats, if there's a better site for that in terms of like year over year when teams are doing it offline, I can hit you up on this if you've got a source, because I have some questions and I want to run some like thoughts about that in terms of like I think, because I ran this a couple years back, Schmetz has got like a losing record against Portland, which is crazy considering how much he cares about it. And that's against all comps.
I mean, they were a boogeyman for a few years there, especially we would go there and it would just.
But Ziggy didn't. Ziggy dominated them. So
that's true.
That's kind of weird, like that it flipped when you had a head coach who cared way more about it. Anyway,
I have to say, I think also, this is my take. Coaches can only do so much for rivalry games. Like the players kind of got to be bought in at that level. And I'm not saying that they weren't in those eras. It just, the Timbers that was their Super Bowl. Like they were not that good. The Sounders were contending.
I was
for
talking about
Champions
this
Cup
on Thursday. It's going to be again.
Yeah, like this is that was their Super Bowl.
You've got to be ready for that. They're going to play like it's the last game of soccer they've ever played.
So I come from another part of the country and followed other sports, college football, let's say, and you could be a top-ranked team in the country, but when you play a rivalry, all bets are off. You could be an unranked team versus a number one team. It does not matter what you are when you go into that, because all bets are off. You don't know how that's going to go, and especially that unranked team, it's like they don't care anything more than to beat you, and on days they will do it. So there were years where Portland played Seattle 3 or 4 times, U.S. Open Cup, and then like 3 MLS, normal matches, and we lost 3 of the 4. So when you look at the numbers, it's like it got real bad, like real bad. Obviously, Ziggy didn't face that, but it's just like if you were to ask Brian before he was the head coach what mattered more, that would be true. So again, offline, I can talk to you if there's any other kind of like good resources, because I want to run some numbers and kind of like figure some of these things out. And I have other questions, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, definitely hit up Ari with that, because I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
Going
know
into Saturday,
about
I think
numbers.
it matters a lot.
Actually, I can't do math.
Yeah.
and stats for me, it's the whole.
I would love to win it. We would love to get a whole ahead in the U.S. Open Cup, or not, Cascadia Cup. as far as Seattle goes. And like, I think it would do us good to get some of Osase, Georgie, some of these other players like ingrained in the rivalry. And I can't wait. And I hate to say this in a way to overlook LAFC, but I'll be honest, whatever happens to LAFC does not matter if it's in an effort to win in Portland. And
I agree with that, but then you got to go win that Portland game.
No, that's right. That's right. I'll accept anything for LAFC if that means winning in Portland. 100%.
If they win the Portland game, I'll accept whatever whatever the Lord has in store for LAFC.
Are you two okay with a multi-goal draw at Portland? Like, let's say you, regardless of the LAFC result, you get a point from there.
A multi-goal draw in Portland I don't think that's ever like the worst thing in the world when you're talking about a derby game on the road.
You're not sounding too happy though, is what I'm hearing.
Well, like my thing is just that this whole storyline of the Timbers dominating the rivalry is still a fairly recent thing. I don't think it's. I mean, they beat them last year, so that helped. But anything that they can do to further squash that narrative.
So
would be great, and a draw doesn't quite do that. Like you got to win for that to be.
Yeah. I was on Sonar Feed a few years back, and I ran the numbers then, and that's why I'm. And I'll reach out to you offline, Ari. I ran the numbers then, and Brian had like a losing record, like remarkably so against Portland. And one, I would think that would bug him to the nth degree, but also like that's evolved, and I don't think we've improved, and like that's crazy to me. In terms of like not only just like the Cascadia rivalry, but overall like Portland. So it's like I'm all in favor of, even if we only play them twice a year as the MLS schedule changes, it's like we need to make the most of it, and we need to ingrain these new players, quote unquote new, Vargas, Georgie, in this case Kent, because he's new to us, into this. It was like you need to sell out and help us drive these guys into the ground, because it matters so much there and here, Portland and Seattle, to win this match.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, there's still a possibility of getting 6 points over the next two matches. I don't think it's out of the wind, because LAFC are going to be on short rest. They're playing Vancouver tomorrow. That's a terribly tough game. I can't imagine that they're not going to rotate for the Sounders game. I can't imagine the Sounders aren't going to rotate for that game. And listen, we already have a sample size for a rotated LAFC versus a rotated Seattle Sounders. And you know what that is? That's 5-0. So if we can even get 1% of that, I think we'll be okay. I think for me, I think there's a better chance at getting a result at LAFC, and I'm going to be happy about that. If you can win at BMO, I'm always good for that. That always makes me. Is it still BMO, or did they change?
Yeah,
it?
BMO Stadium.
Yeah, like that's. I'm happy about that. Obviously, I want to win.
Wait, no, it's Bank of
California. No, it's BMO now.
Oh no,
it
yeah,
was
they
Bank
changed
of
it from
California.
the bank to
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, for me, like the Timbies, I would love to beat them too. But like we were saying, that's their Super Bowl.
But
we have
you
a chance
take one
to get
or the other for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
play it like it's your Super Bowl too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I think we will see that. I think we'll see the starters out for the weekend, and we'll see.
I think Schmetz has lashed into them enough
KKR
times for not matching the intensity that it's seared into their brains.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would not want to be in the locker room during a Brian Schmetzer halftime talk when you're down 1-0 in Portland. But
here's the weird thing. Here's the weird thing. I'll let you lead me on this.
Sweet.
If they lose at LA, that could be a positive going into Portland, especially given how the rotation is in terms of, hey, we're behind, we get people out, we get them rested a little bit, going over and say, we cannot accept what you have done here today, and you're going into your rival. Do not do this again. That actually could be a benefit. And if you get 6 as opposed to 5 points out of the 3 matches, that's fantastic.
I really do think that there's a chance to win this game midweek. The LAFC is playing the Galaxy next weekend as well. So we are both playing our rivals. It's both a look forward type of match.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that, you've got to win at home in MLS. So, if you're LAFC, you want to win that game, but if I'm LAFC, I'm like, okay, we're still rolling out, our second team. And like I said, when you do that, we've seen what happens, and this could be a 9-point, 2 weeks.
Can you imagine 9 points out of 3?
I can't
on the
imagine.
road?
9 points
I
is
can
on
imagine
the
it.
table. It's on the
9
table.
points is
As we
is
sit
available.
today, on the table.
It is on the table. Well, Hunch, thank you so much for
Thank
calling
you so
in.
much for having me.
We love having you on. Always feel free to call back, and have an amazing weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Hunch.
All right, we got one more. What should we
Let's
run
get
it? Let's run
W
it.
in here. Let's get him in
All
here.
right. All right. Welcome. How we doing?
Chilling. That was a great victory.
What
I
were
do
you
have
doing?
some thoughts.
Let's hear
Danny
it.
Musovski should be on the USMT
Yeah.
You're cooking
roster
already.
pool.
Love it.
That dude is getting some DP escalators in his contract if he doesn't already have them. Like, that guy has been on a run
I would be
that's
good with it.
barely unmatched in the whole franchise. So that guy is cooking. I say we put him down for number 9 this midweek against LAFC. At the same time, I don't think LAFC is really a rival. Like we touched on earlier, like, they're good when they're good and we show up for the match, but like, compare that to what we're talking about against Portland. Like, we show up for that match, whether they're bottom of the table or top of the table. And that's just not what's happening with LAFC.
I asked this earlier, but do you think that this Danny Musovski, comeback or, showing is the best comeback that we've ever seen from a Sounders player?
I don't have anybody else to top that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. Like this run
Yeah.
of form is ridiculous. I agree. I think they'll probably play De Rosario midweek. At least start him. I think Moose might get some minutes.
The
Like
thing
you guys
is,
were
I
saying.
think with it being Moose's revenge game, I think they start him. Maybe they don't let him play like that deep into the second half, but I think he starts.
And if we're drawing from on previous like Brian Schmetzerisms, like when Jordan Morris was 1 goal away from being the top scoring Sounder, like that dude put him in every match he could for longer than he should have, and like it worked out. He got the goal, but like if Moose is on this hot streak, like give him 6, like keep him going, keep him rolling.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sean, thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate your support. I think we get a new emote now. That's sick. We're gonna have to make a new emote. Should we do Ryan Kent or something? I don't know. Yeah, no, what are your thoughts on the weekend, right? Like obviously share that, but what are you thinking? Do you think we're gonna win in LA and win in Portland? Draw, loss? What's the vibes from you?
I mean, I like the rivalry match takes like top cake in my pecking order, but like so does next matchup. So like I don't think I would punt midweek against LA, but like I'm still like, I don't know, I'm trying to get the victory there, and if we get 1 point, I'm not upset. But if we get 1 point and then 3 out of Portland, that's a win in my book. But yeah,
I think the beauty of the depth we're seeing on display right now is you don't have to punt. Like you can put out really strong 11 at LAFC and still put out whatever you think your strongest might be at Portland.
Yeah,
exactly. You got guys that didn't start this game like Ferreira and De La Vega that you can start at LAFC, and then if you feel like you want to go back to Kent Rothrock, which I don't know about you guys, I loved this. I just really liked the setup tonight. I think it was my favorite 11 of the season.
I agree.
Yeah, that was a solid formation. I love seeing all those guys play together. I did love Pedro coming in and adding some class and some flavor later in the match. But yeah, a lot of those guys were doing extra work tonight.
Who is your man of the match?
I mean, I was a little bit in and out dealing with like family stuff today, but I did want to say that I mentioned it in chat, but Ryan Kent sees the future and he's playing into that space. There's just something about the way that he sees the ball and sees the players around him that he knows where they're going, and it's like chess, and he's already playing 4 moves ahead, and he puts the ball exactly where it needs to be and where it should have been. So
they should have made him the Pope.
I understand why people were saying that his first half wasn't like totally up to the standard that we saw in the brief glimpses so far in St. Louis, but that individual run he makes on that assist was so good. So good.
It's ridiculous.
That was just another absolutely ridiculous individual play.
And it's his first start for the franchise. So
on the road in
fine.
Houston, and he pulls out a dime like that. I mean, I don't even really care at all what happened in the first half if he's going to pull that out.
He has 124 minutes and 3 assists.
Yep.
1 start, 4 matches. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the eye test is just like unreal with like the jukes he's got and the.
Dude, he used Obed Vargas as a human practice dummy.
Yeah.
You know those little inflatable practice dummies? On that run, he literally just like, hey, bro, pause for a minute.
It was so fun to watch
all around him.
It was so fun to watch because you could just see that there was still space. And I was just like, yeah, just keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. And he did it.
I guess I'll throw in a man in the match now that I had a second to think about it. Danny Musovski. He was up top, and then like also making defensive runs and making defensive plays all match. And he was getting into Houston players' heads. So gotta love that.
Gotta love that. Well, close us out here with anything, any final thoughts. This has been a marathon, so let us know.
Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate the content. You guys keep it rolling all day, every day. Give me something to watch when I'm working or listening to something. So love it.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah, we appreciate you, man. And I hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy the rest.
See you, man. All right, Ari.
Nice little 2-hour post game live.
Just something slight. Just something slight.
It's a casual 2-hour.
Well, we didn't hit the haircut goal, but I'm still gonna get a haircut because this is a little too long. But I'm not gonna get the Danny Musovski haircut. That's not happening. We can't. Like I can't do that. But I did buy the Danny Musovski jersey for those who missed that moment. We bought the Las Vegas.
I'm honestly
Light.
jealous of that purchase. That
Yeah,
thing
it is
sick as
it's
hell.
pretty sick. I mean, listen, you can borrow it if you want. I'll let you borrow it, but it's that's gonna go. I think that's gonna have to replace the Andy T jersey.
You could probably work them both in that backdrop.
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
You
I
can't
like
have
that.
Andy T not in the shot. Come on.
Get some. No, here's what I'm not gonna do. Get some Yeimar braids. I don't think. Listen, we're a podcast already. We're already goofy. I don't need any of that energy. I don't need any of that. Those kind of attention, if you know what I mean. Don't need to get Yeimar braids, but what am I saying? I don't know, Ari, dude. My brain is gone. I had a full day of work, a full day of Sounders, and a full day of streaming. We appreciate you all for tuning in. If you haven't liked the video,
like the video.
Just like the video.
Just like the video. If you're like on the fence about liking the video, just like it.
Like or dislike it, because it doesn't matter. And if you want to become a YouTube member, we would love that. It is the best way, one of the best ways to support this show. We literally are putting out exclusive content on there weekly. It is super fun. We also have a really sick vlog coming from the US Open Cup.
I watched it. It's really good.
Guys, it's so sick. It's so good.
It's fire.
So you'll see that. Members will see that first, and then it'll go to the general populace. So if you want to see that first in this next week, we'll see that. But yeah, make sure you subscribe and like, and that's all for me. Ari, you got anything to shill? What's our next? We got pod, and you got something on Monday.
Yeah, we got another dub pod to lay down. Nico and I will be back at it. Lobbing Scorchers kickoff Monday at 8 a.m. And then Under the Lights Thursdays at 7:30. Those have been fun. I'm telling you, the stats aren't as hot, but I'm telling you guys, if you're not tuning into those, you're missing out. That's where the real sickos unite.
We may have to record a secondary pod on Thursday after the midweek game. I feel like that might have to happen.
Oh yeah, this is like the first midweek we've had in a while.
I know. We used to grind out 2 pods in a week if we had midweek games, but we'll have to sort that out. We're also both going down to Portland, so if you're going down to Portland, definitely, if you see us there, give us a wave, buy us a beer. We're going to make a vlog going down there too. So content galore. We never stop. And with that, Ari, should we hit the exit?
Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks to everyone who called in. Like the video. Have a good one, guys.
Peace.
Don't want to give money to the oligarchs, but love lobbing scorchers? Do we have a deal for you? MLS Season Pass is back on Apple TV with access to every single MLS match, including Leagues Cup and the entire Audi MLS Cup playoffs with no blackouts. It's not just the games, you get total access to the pre- and post-match MLS 360 whip-around show in both English and Spanish, and get live look-ins and highlights from around the league, as well as full match replays and recaps. Now, you can support our show by visiting lobbingscorchers.com/Apple TV to purchase your subscription and support our show.
Lobbingscorchers.com/Apple TV. Please, don't let the oligarchs win.